Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's Up With That, the show that brings you interesting people, places, cultures, and subcultures here in the South Bay, the San Francisco Bay Area, the state of California, and beyond. And tonight, what's up with art cars? What's up with the Art Fest? And why does somebody get so passionate about art and cars and creates these unbelievable, what I'm talking about, the things when you're riding down the freeway and you see a green AstroTurf car go by. What is the passion behind this, and how do you get inspired to do such a fabulous piece of art? Well, I want to tell you a story. My first exposure to art cars was the Oscar Mayer Wiener car. And I'll never forget that. I thought, you know what, if someone can drive down the road in a Wiener, there is a world of possibilities. Then came Burning Man, and Burning Man totally changed my concept of art cars. And I'll always remember the pirate ship. For some reason, when I think about Burning Man, I think of the pirate ship and the mattress taxis, and there's so much more. Well, today we have an expert on art cars who's going to share his story, his wisdom, his creative talent. Please welcome to our show, Harrod Blank.
Thank you.
He is an author, he is a filmmaker, and he is a art car extraordinaire. So let's begin. What is an art car?
An art car is basically one's expression art on a car. That's
Okay.
it. And that can be, pretty much anything. From simply painting it or gluing things onto it or changing the entire appearance of it, the shape, the structure.
Mm-hmm. And so how did you get involved in art car creating?
Well, I was raised in a forest, so I was kind of like a wild child in the Bonnie Doon Mountains of Santa Cruz. And so, I was, as a result, I was somewhat alienated, and when I went to high school, did I fit in? Not really. I didn't watch TV. We didn't have a TV. I didn't know what the popular TV shows were and such. So when I got my first car when I was 16, it was a white VW, and I looked at it and I was like, that is ugly. I thought, I cannot drive that thing around. It's not cool. It's not anything that I like.
The Beetle?
Yeah, plain white. So I thought, well, how about if I paint a rooster on the driver's door, which is what I was raising chickens in the forest previously. So it was my totem was the rooster. And just by doing that, I suddenly took on an identity. Chicken man, rooster man. Hey, there goes that chicken guy, And that
Like Pocahontas or something going on there.
that encouraged me to keep going. It was simple as that. And so the impetus for my entire career was that in just expressing something of myself and sharing it with others.
And so when you created your chicken car, tell me your first experience with the quote-unquote normal population.
Well, the police, of course, wanted to pull me over immediately. I mean, they wanted to know what is up with this guy.
Chickens are not to be on the road.
So I got pulled over a lot.
How did you get to the other side of the road?
Explain all that, and then on the other hand, it also got me into a lot of parties where you would need to have credentials. Like at the University of Santa Cruz, I didn't need credentials to go on campus. I had my credentials. It was the car.
Right, sweet.
The security guard's like, go ahead, crazy chicken car dude.
So this evolved into a passion that's gone on for how long?
We're talking when I was 16, and then I put the chicken on and a shot up TV. I took a TV set and shot it with a gun, and then put that on top of the car as a statement. And it was initially it had Bob Marley, and it was very Rasta because I was into reggae music. And then it morphed over the years, and then sometime right around college, I started thinking maybe I was not normal. And I started to wonder about my own sanity. And then I heard about all these other cars, like from tourists in Santa Cruz, like, hey, this is kind of reminding me of the Lightmobile. And I'd be like, what's the Lightmobile? Oh, it's a VW covered with lights. Or this reminds me of the grass car. And then I realized,
Yeah.
uh-oh, I'm not alone.
Wow.
And then I started wondering what motivated those people. And then I started photographing them, and that actually began the whole, career of documenting the other art cars.
So how long have art cars been around?
Well, I think I've seen pictures from the very beginning of cars. They decorated cars. I've seen political statements, on old, like in the 1920s, on old cars. They do them white lettering, and they had shaped vehicles, like the Wienermobile, but it wasn't the Wiener. It was something else. They've had houses on cars from the very beginning.
I can imagine that would be pretty surprising. So you started with the rooster car, and then it just started. Did you start buying more cars?
No, the rooster car kept going until 1993, when I had a dream. And the reason I had a dream, I'll tell you the dream in a second, but the reason I had it was because I was facing a crisis with my parents and my friends, who were wondering
why you have a rooster car.
when I was going to grow out of this damn thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been doing it. By then I was doing it for 15 years almost, and they're like, when's this guy going to grow up? And what they didn't understand was the benefits of the experience of seeing, of taking a person and giving them something to do,
right?
React, think, respond, and that interaction is very rewarding. If you're the artist, that's instant gratification. Your art has touched somebody.
Yeah.
And so this dream I had was I tried to take pictures of these reactions to show people, and
those are great, huh?
when they saw the camera, and oh my God, they just reacted to camera. They'd be like, "Oh, hi, Mom," that kind of thing. And then I had this dream, and in the dream, I covered the car with cameras.
Okay.
And people reacted to it just the same, but they didn't know the cameras worked. So I got these covert reaction shots that were real. And when I woke up the next day, I decided that I should do that.
And create a camera car.
The camera van, yeah. Wow. And then I spent 2 years.
Wow.
2 years acquiring the cameras and putting them on and making the damn thing work, because it wasn't, I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, so you kind of learned to be
a
jack of all trades.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're going to look at a clip of some of the art cars from your book, Art Cars, here. And you'll see that these are your photos, right? How long did it take you to do this book?
This was done initially in 2002, and then I took over the rights from the publisher and added a chapter in 2007.
Okay.
So it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, we're going to look at some of these photos. Incredible stuff. Great bunny. So we're going to check out these photos, and you'll see a little bit about what we're talking about. I think you're going to like what you see. Check it out. All right, well, as you can see, the possibilities are endless. Wonderful, cool, unbelievable stuff. Is there a certain kind of car that makes for a better art car? Is there a certain...
One that runs good. That you only learn, though, after doing it. Initially, you get whatever's cheap and easy, like a VW or an old American car. But after you spent 2, 3, 5, 10 years making your art on it, if the thing breaks down...
Yeah, that's a bummer, huh?
Yeah.
I can imagine you pulling into like a place that services cars with this car. Like, Oh, there's something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what kinds of cars have you used? You said a van, you said you used a VW. I'm sure you've expanded to other things.
Use Old American and another VW. VWs I actually don't like because they don't run well on the freeway carrying all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think VWs are actually not good.
And that's probably something to consider because there's a weight issue.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine some of these things. I mean, I thought when I was at Burning Man, some of these things must just weigh a ton.
If I had done the camera van on a newer van, it would have completely fallen apart.
Yeah.
The door itself is 550 pounds.
Yeah, so that's a...
That hinge on a new car, van, the hinge would break with 550 pounds constantly opening, closing.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, I mean, okay, understanding the weight issues and all this stuff, are there certain... I'm just thinking, are there certain permits that you have to get? Do you have to get a special driver's license? Do you have to go up... I mean, I'm kind of throwing a whole bunch of questions at one time, but... You have to go up against, public planning commissions that say your stuff is a nuisance, or?
The key is to get the car licensed, registered, and insured before you do anything to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then you can.
Like, sir, I have a Batmobile, and
then you
I'm
modify
trying to get it insured right now.
You would never get it.
Yeah.
But if you modify it after that point, then. You're for some reason you're okay. But if you alter the chassis and then you're going to probably have to go through inspection, and then I imagine that's not very easy to get approved because you have to. Imagine. But basically, you have to have the windshield, you have to have a clear windshield, you have to have the tail lights. Everything has to be working. It has to be legal. So as long as you do all that stuff, then you should be okay.
What about an obscene car, like a sexual car?
They get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
There's one guy, he wanted to be in the art car festival, and he had put purple dildos all over his car.
Yeah.
And
Philo,
the guy that I do the festival with, says, we cannot have that in the festival. And the guy's like, why not? It's an art car.
Right.
And he's like, we have children coming to this event. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And he got really pissed off because he couldn't be in the festival.
Can you imagine Mom and Pa from Arkansas seeing their car driving down the road?
Sure.
Pass out. So, what are some of the cars that you've seen that you remember? It doesn't necessarily have to be so much yours, but something that you thought was really clever, because it's going to lead us into how we get these ideas and actually construct this thing. What's a clever art car?
Well, the Mad Cad from Mendocino is really cool because he took the car, added like pink flamingos from the lawn and kitty horses that you would ride, and then beaded the whole thing, the car and the objects included, and made one piece. And it was really ornate and beautiful, and it's like the Taj Mahal of art cars.
Yeah. And once they've made these cars, there's venues to show them. Burning Man is one of them. What's the shelf life of an art car? I mean, do you see people that continue with these, they keep building on? I mean, I'm trying to figure out the process here. You said you'd spent,
There's different
years and years on certain ones.
There's different types. Like, my VW will probably never be done. As long as I'm alive and my ideas are
the
changing,
chicken man. Huh?
I'm going to keep adding to it.
Yes.
Until I die, probably. Then there's other art cars that you start out with a concept and you work it till you achieve it. Then it's done.
Right.
So there's two different types on that, and they last as long as the weather and people will permit it. I mean, the maintenance on these things, you have no idea how much maintenance
you have to do. Glue you go through.
Glue and paint and repainting and retaping and all that. That's why I started this museum down on the border of Mexico, because I needed a place not only to put my own cars, but a place to put all these other art cars from people that are passing away. Now
not only are you have published a book, but you're also into or have completed a movie, Automorphosis.
Just finished it.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Automorphosis?
Well, Morphosis is change and auto is self. So a general concept behind the movie is that these people, not only they change their cars to represent themselves, but that in turn changes themselves and how their perspective on the world, and changes the perspective of other people towards them and public art.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
but that's as all art does.
Yeah, all art does that, yeah.
I mean, you know, if you think about the people who really changed the world were the Dollies and the people who said, we're just going to do like something like this. We're going to put it out and
13 years later, I've been working on that thing since 1995.
Okay.
And it pretty much covers...
That's 11 years, yeah, longer than that.
The contemporary art car people that I've met since 95. There's a previous movie called Wild Wheels that had everybody up to that point that I could film.
Okay, we're going to take a look at a clip here from Automorphosis, and we'll see what you've been up to for the last, it sounds like, over 10 years.
Okay.
This is Automorphosis. Check it out.
To the United States is because I like the sunshine, the ocean, and everything Americana. I export gift items, memorabilia, and novelties related to American cars and motorcycles, like belt buckles, license plates, bumper stickers, keychains. I always say I sell everything what you really don't need. With my business, I make enough money to support my family, but actually the hamburger ate all my money what I had. There's nothing left. I discussed it with my wife when I was halfway done with the hamburger, and I spent about $60,000, and I almost gave up, and I said, it's too much, you know, it's getting out of control. Should I stop it? And she said, no, don't stop it. It's your dream. Finish it, no matter how much it costs. Let's work a little harder, but let's do it. Let's go for it. I have about more than 500 hamburgers which are in the shape of an actual hamburger, and every hamburger is categorized and is in the computer about the diameter, what material is it out, is it a bacon cheeseburger or just a plain hamburger or a cheeseburger. I call this one the Rolls-Royce hamburger because it's looking so realistic, and I saw it first, I wanted to take a bite out of it. And then I said, my goodness, this is well done. You know, when I collect hamburgers and other memorabilia, there's no purpose for it. I don't need my collectibles to survive. They're just there because I like them. And this is our hamburger waterbed. My family, my friends, actually everybody asks me why. Why are you collecting all these things? And why hamburgers? Why? A lot of things I do in my life have no meaning, no sense, and that's what I like. To confuse people. It keeps me alive. This is part of my life, to do things like this and do unusual things.
All right, well, that was a clip from Automorphosis, and why don't you explain to us what we just saw?
Well, that was the Hamburger Harley by Harry Spurl, and he's a German, and he thought that he loved America, and what represented America to him was the hamburger. So he made his vehicle into a mobile hamburger on wheels.
And how long would that take? I mean, I'm just thinking.
That one took about a year, and he actually had to work with a Disney artist to make the hydraulics so the bun opens, and so he can get in and drive. And
so Disney got to cut off his...
Not Disney, but the guy did, the guy that worked with him. Yep. But some of these things are complicated. I mean, it's almost like a little rocket ship.
What would you say, since you brought that up, is one of the most complicated art cars that you've seen?
Bighorn.
Bighorn.
Bighorn is a collection of boat horns and whistles mounted to a car, each of which is on hydraulics, and it's all computer generated. He can push a button, the horn, we're talking giant, of like the Titanic, lifts up, and then he pushes the button,
Very
and
cool.
blasts people off. I mean, he could, very, very loud.
He's probably very popular with the local police.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so you kind of touched a little bit in a previous segment about your museum on the border of Mexico. I thought that was intriguing. Tell me about this project.
Well, I couldn't do it here in the Bay Area or Santa Cruz because real estate makes it impossible. And I also tried to get support from the cities. And
hell no! Can you put that thing in my town?
right, financial support wasn't forthcoming.
Yeah.
And basically, I took it to the border of Mexico in Douglas, Arizona, where, ironically, it's been known to be the #1 people smuggling and drug smuggling point of entry into this
Perfect place
country.
to put the museum,
which
huh?
is bizarre,
I mean-
but the reason I went there was because it didn't seem to have an identity. And I thought maybe I could do whatever I want here. And also the weather's real good, and I got real estate really cheap, a huge building that I could put the cars into. Of course, the roof's caving in, so I need to raise
little
money.
things, yeah.
You know, I got to fix it up. But it's it wouldn't be my #1 place to do an art car museum. Like Santa Cruz, I feel would be or Berkeley would be much more appropriate. But you know,
Politics are politics.
the financial support wasn't there.
Yeah. So, how do you advertise this? And do people come?
Yes, artcarworld.org, and it's by appointment only right now until I fix the roof. So I have had people come down, email me, and say, "Can we come see what you've got going?" And I invite them in and show them around. It's going to take several more years before it's up and running, but there's 16 art cars there now, including the Cathedral from Oakland, which is that
Cathedral,
gothic.
That sounds awesome.
It's been a Burning Man many times.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen
Yeah,
it.
it's very cool.
Yep.
And then you also have festivals, is that correct?
The Art Car Fest, which
Okay.
Philo Northrup and I put on every year here in the Bay Area. We touch, San Jose and San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. We do all those cities and do little events and reach out to schools and do a caravan that's not advertised, and we just, appear. 60 art cars just appear, in somebody's neighborhood, and they're like, "Whoa, what's this?" And that's
Yeah.
really fun, like a
Right.
circus.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
But you're popular with the city officials too, huh?
Yeah, well, they don't know about it, so
Yeah.
we can do it that way. If you have to get permission to do a parade per se and have police and fire and protection insurance and all that, it's
not worth
that's why
it.
you don't do it. It's too
Yeah.
expensive. It's too difficult.
So you're really the epitome of this, the artist. It's that art life, and I think I can understand when you talk to me. I can see the passion in your eyes when you talk about the stuff. That's what gets you going. That's the cool thing about it. We need to have that kind of thing in this country.
It's a bit rebellious, but at the same time, it's part of popular culture. So it's kind of a weird blend.
I mean, Warhol did it years ago. and he
It's
just
not
said-
like art car people are hated or
Right.
they're actually well liked by most people, but it's still an underground thing. I mean, how many art cars can you count that you've seen in the past, let's just say, month?
Yeah. Not many.
Maybe not even one. That's how few there are.
But you really know them. I mean, you remember them when you see them.
Yeah, you remember that, right?
And I think that's the statement with any artist, really, something to show your work and have people go, like you said, or what was that,
I say, look, it's either you take a car that somebody else branded for you, or you take a car and you make it your own brand. You make it your own vision. That's
Well,
the difference.
So we're getting down to just a couple minutes left, and there may be some budding art car designers out there now. I'm sure you probably, with some of the stuff that they've seen, they're thinking, this is something I like. What would you say to them? How would you tell them to prepare themselves for this?
I would say try to forget the car that you're starting out with as it being a car. Look at it as a canvas, and then think big, and then think realistic how you're going to actually pull it off, and then do what you can to do it. I mean, you have to be realistic. I mean, you can't make a rocket ship that's going to go to the moon. You don't have the money to or the means to do it. But you know, think wild, think big, think what you you know, do what you really want to do.
And when you're talking about that, what kind of costs might the person have to expect would be involved in
Well,
this?
you have to evaluate what's it going to cost to realize your vision. So if it's a painted vehicle, it's not going to be so bad. But if you're talking sculptural, you got to do welding, you got to buy supplies. That adds up.
The room to do
It's not
this
cheap.
stuff.
The time, though. People think that art cars, for some reason, you can do it in a weekend. Ain't going to happen.
No.
You know, it ain't going to happen. They take a long time. And that's, you got to have patience, you know, to fulfill these things, because they're
I know. I think
tough.
of, again, going back to a vision of Burning Man with the big pirate ship.
La Contessa.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just every time I see it, just stuns me. And I think, you know, wow, you know, go for it. Just keep going for it. So we're at the end here. Thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck with Automorphosis.
Cool.
Great book. You know, keep up the energy and keep making a statement, because without people like you, then we live in a very boring world.
Well, I'll see you on the road.
Yeah, I'll be looking for your cars.
Cool.
All right, thank you very
you.
much. And to our viewing audience, as ever, if you're walking down the street and you see something interesting, like a really cool art car, and you wonder to yourself, hey, what's up with that? Well, tune into our show, What's Up With That, and maybe you'll find exactly what you're looking for. We'll see you next week on What's Up With That. Good night, everybody.